Happy day. Now, in today's class we are going to see about the algebraic structure called groups. There are many more structure. Here in this class we are going to discuss about the group and their examples. Some examples on group. For this we need to know some basic concepts of sets. Here I would like to highlight upon few concepts, sets and its representation, then what are the how to represent a set, what are the definitions of finite set, infinite set, sets operation, Cartesian product, the basic definition of a set. All of us are aware of a set already, so just I would like to review these few basic concepts. The theory was developed by German mathematician Georg Cantor. What is a set? Set is a well-defined collection of objects. Each and every word is very, very important. Collection of objects, well-defined collection of objects. Let us see some few examples. So here I have given some examples. Rivers of India, English or the vowels in English alphabets, the odd numbers, odd natural numbers less than 10. What are the odd natural numbers less than 10? So, all the elements in that set bears a common property. So, the odd natural numbers less than 10. So, this definition is very, very clear. That is why this is called well-defined collection of objects. The elements are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. That is all. So, the next a few more examples we can give, go and on examples for all these things. The next is, after defining a set, what are the representation of a set? How we are going to represent a set? There are two methods. One is called roster form, another one is called set builder form. In roster form, the set of all even positive integers less than 7 can be described as 2, 4, 6. That same the set in set builder form, the set of all, here I have taken some particular example. In the set builder form, all the elements in the set bears or possesses a same common property. For example, the set A, E, I, O, U, what are they? They are English vowels in the alphabets, English alphabets. So, the set, we can represent it by capital V. Capital V consists of the elements A, E, I, O, U. So, in the set builder form, all the elements in the set possesses a common property. Now, let us see what is a finite and infinite set. Finite set, a set A is said to be a finite set if it consists of only finite number of elements or definite elements. For example, let W be the set of days of a week. So, the days of the weeks, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. It consists of only finite, definite number of elements. So, this set is called a finite set. The next, let us see what is a subset. Subset is, suppose let us consider an example, let X be the set of all students in our college and let Y be another set is consisting of the number of students in the Department of Mathematics. So, this Y is the subset of X. So, all the elements of Y are in X. So, here the Y is called the subset of A. So, this is called a subset. Next, Cartesian product of two sets A and B. Suppose for you we are given two sets A and B. So, the A cross B, the Cartesian product of A cross B is denoted by the symbol A cross B. It consists of set of all ordered pairs. This denotes ordered pairs. When it comes to the Cartesian product of three sets A, B, C, set of all or triplets. So, here the Cartesian product of two sets, so A cross B consists of set of all ordered pairs small a comma b, where A belongs to A is in set A and B belongs to the set B, B is in B. Next, after defining all these concepts, now we are going to see the binary operation. For the group beneath, the next basic definition is called a binary operation. Why this is called a binary operation? The operation which operates between two elements only. For example, consider a set of natural numbers, starts from 1, 2, 3, etc. Let us take addition is the arithmetic operation. So, 2 plus 3. At a time, you will be able to operate it on only two elements. That is why those operation is called an a binary operation. Here we are going to denote the binary operation generally by star. So let S be S or G, any non-empty set, let us consider the star is a binary operation. That means what? For every AB in G, let us take two arbitrary elements of G. G is a set we are taking. From that set, let us call two elements. So I am denoting that by AB. So for every AB in S, so A star B is also in S. A star B is also in S. So binary operation is a function defined from S cross S to S. So it takes once again the elements belongs to S itself. For example, I have given one example. G consists of 1 minus 1 I minus I. I am taking a non-empty set first. Here let us consider star is the binary operation. Here star denotes usual multiplication. Usual multiplication. We can call any two elements from the set G. So I am taking 1 and minus I, 1 and I. So 1 star I. Here what does it means star? Star denotes multiplication operation. So 1 star I is equal to 1 into I. The product here I is a complex number. So 1 into I gives me I. So here the star is the binary operation. So resultant we are getting once again elements in the same set G. Next, the definition of group. Here to define a algebraic structure group, we need a set, non-empty set first, together with some binary operation we are going to take. For example, D is a non-empty set, together with the binary operation star is said to be a group if it satisfies the following axiom. What are the following axioms? The axioms are called closure axiom, associative axiom, existence of identity and existence of inverse. The order is very essential here. We cannot go by the order, first I will check third operation, then second, then fourth, then I will come to one. So the order is very important. So the first operation, the axiom is called closure axiom. So closure axiom, for every two elements from G, A star B is also in G, must be in G. So A star B, the binary whatever be the binary operation we are going to take, that A star B, the resultant elements must be in the same set G once again. That then the law is called closure axiom. We can call the set G is closed with respect to that respective binary operation. The next is associative law. Associative law is for every three elements from G, A star B star C. First I will apply the binary operation on B star C, then I will find A star B star C. On the other side, I will find the binary operation on A and B first, then I will take the operate it on C. So both the sides must be equal. Then we can conclude saying the non-empty set G satisfies associative property. Then third axiom is existence of identity. Existence of identity is for every A in G. So I am calling any element from G. I am not taking a particular element. Any element, every element A in G, if there exists, if I am able to find an element E, that element is also in G. E is also in G along with the condition. Here an element denotes uniqueness of the element E. So if there exists an element in E satisfying the condition A star E is equal to E star A equal to A. If I am able to find an element E along with this condition, we can say the existence of identity element is there, exist in G. The next fourth axiom is called existence of inverse. Existence of inverse for every A in G, if I am able to find an element A inverse, the inverse of that element A denoted by A raised to the power minus 1. The inverse of an element is also in G, must be there, the A inverse must be in G. Such element we have to find out. If there exists, if you are able to find, if not means we cannot say the existence of identity axiom holds good. So if there exists an element A inverse in G satisfying along with the condition A star A inverse equal to A inverse star A equal to the resultant should be the identity element of G. So then we can say the set G is called a group. Any set, non-empty set G together with whatever the binary operation we are taking, if it satisfies all these four axioms, we can conclude saying G is a group. So G form, when will you, these are the tests. So to check whether if you are given a non-empty set, one binary operation is given to you, whether it is multiplication or addition or subtraction or division, whatever be it, or binary operation could be combination of addition and multiplication also. Whatever binary operation is given to you, the set is given, we will be able to apply the test one by one on the set G. We can get a new structure called group. This is a precise structure of the first algebraic structure of set. Now the next one is abelian group. Let us see another definition, abelian group. Here to describe a abelian group, first of all it has to be a group. Abelian group, isn't it? So a group G star, first of all it has to be a group. Suppose if you want to check in whether the given set is an abelian group, we cannot say set is an abelian group. First of all it has to be an abelian group, then we can check whether it is an abelian or not. So a group G star, already G is together with the binary operation only, we have checked all those 4 conditions, isn't it? Then only it forms a group. So we are taking that revised structure. That structure we are taking. So let G be a group with respect to the binary operation star. That group is said to be an abelian group if it satisfies the condition for every 2 element of G. For every AB in G, A star B equal to B star A. If this condition is satisfied, A star left hand side is A star B. First time A star B I am taking, on the other hand I am taking B star A. If both the sides are same, if I am getting the same element, then we can say the group is abelian group. We can wonder what is the special property of the abelian group. For example, all of us are familiar with 2 by 2 matrices. But if I consider the matrix multiplication as the binary operation, in general multiplication does not obey commutative property, abelian property. Because in general, AB matrix is not equal to B into A in general. In particular case, if B is the identity matrix, the condition will satisfy. So matrix multiplication does not obey abelian property. So those groups are not abelian group. They are called group which is not abelian, is called a non-abelian group. Non-abelian group. Then next, finite and infinite group. Then what is a finite group, infinite group? Already we have come across the definition in sets. The definition is same as follows in groups also. A group G star is said to be a finite group if it consists of definite number of elements, only finite number of elements. Those groups are called finite group. Otherwise, they are called an infinite group. Now, we have come across few definitions. Group, what is an abelian group, a finite and infinite group. Now, let us take some real-time example. Any theory part of mathematics, if you are able to connect something along with our real-time example, we will understand the basic concept easily. That is the nature of our subject. Suppose here I would like to bring in a few simple examples. Let us take the ingredients are, any ingredient you can take, preparation of coffee, it could be anything. For example, I have taken here few examples. Let us take rava and sugar. Then these are the 2 ingredients I am taking. The binding agent, if you want to mix these 2 together, we need some binding agent. The binding agent, let us take the hot ghee. With the hot ghee only, it will be able to mix these 2 ingredients. So, hot ghee. Here the instruction, how we are going to make that resultant rava laddu, how we are going to make. That is the instruction. Pour, mix, then we are going to get the rava laddu. So, this is the simple example. How we are going to connect this with our definition of group. Here the set G is the ingredients. I am taking a non-empty set G is my ingredient. The binding agent is the star. The binary operation is the binding agent. There the instruction, here the axioms. To make a rava laddu, so we need some preparation, isn't it? That is a procedure. So here the axioms, we are going to check the axioms one by one. So resultant we are going to get a group. So for that I have taken few more structure, ring and vector spaces. Let us restrict ourselves with a group alone. So the ingredients, you can connect it with elements of the group. The binding agent is the binary operation here. The procedure here is there, the procedure. Here is the test of axioms. So if it satisfies, if you apply, the comparison is only the different. So ultimately we are going to get, we are going to get a group, a structure called group. On the lighter side, I would like to bring in few simple real-time example. Here let us consider a non-empty set G. G consists of 1, minus 1, I, minus I, and the binary operation let us consider usual multiplication. So, I am taking as non-empty set one side, other side the binary operation star is the multiplication here. Here obviously G consists of only finite number of elements. So, for the multiplication we are going to prepare a table called Cayley's table. So, let us prepare a Cayley's table for these 4 elements. Let us write the elements in the first row, similarly on the first column. So, let us multiply any 2 elements of G using the binary operation. Star is here is the multiplication. So, let us multiply. Here I denotes a complex number. So, I square gives me the resultant element minus 1. So, using this, keeping this I is the multiplication complex number in your mind, let us complete the Cayley's table. So, with respect to the Cayley's table, we can check the axiom one by one easily. So, whenever G consists of finite number of elements, so we can prepare the Cayley's table like this. From the Cayley's table, we will verify all the 4 axioms one by one. Look at the Cayley's table, that if we multiply any 2 elements, we are getting once again all the resultant elements are once again in G. Are we getting minus 3 or 4 or 5? So, all the resultant elements are once again in G. Isn't it? So, this is how we will prepare the Cayley's table. Let us check the condition one by one. The first one is the closure axiom. From the Cayley's table, you can call any 2 elements. Just by writing, I am writing the time I have taken 2 elements. You can call any 2 elements. Otherwise, straight away we can write from the Cayley's table, the closure axiom holds good. So, we write the law first for every A, B in G. Let us check A star B is also in G. So, let us call 2 elements of G, then multiply, check whether the resultant element is also in G or not. So, here from the Cayley's table, obviously all the resultant elements are in G. So, G satisfies, the closure axiom satisfies on G. Similarly, let us verify the associative axiom. Let us call 3 elements, 3 distinct elements. You can ask only, do we have to take all the 3 distinct elements? So, no, all the any 2 elements could be equal also, one element might be different. In any order, you can call any 3 elements of G. Understand? So, for example, let us take 3 elements here. I have applied the associative test on these 3 elements. Let us check both the sides are equal. So, we are getting both the sides are equal. So, associative axioms holds good on the elements of G. Now, let us verify the third axiom called existence of identity. Let us recall the axiom once again. That axiom always it must be in your mind. For every A in G, if there exists an element E in G satisfying the condition A star E equal to E star A equal to, I must get the same element A once again. So, let us recall from the Cayley's table easily we can find out that element is E equal to 1 here. By multiplying all the elements of G by 1, we are getting the same element. So, here 1 is called the identity element of G. So, for every A in G, here we are able to find element 1 in G. Satisfying the condition for A into E equal to E into A equal to I am getting the same element. So, E equal to 1 is called the identity element of G. Next is that the fourth axiom is existence of inverse. For every A in G, if I am able to find an element A inverse also in G, with the condition if I multiply these two, I must get the same, I must get the identity element E. So, here identity element is 1. So, those 2 pairs I have to find out. So, for every A element from the Cayley's table we can find out all these things very easily. The inverse of 1 is 1. So, 1 into 1 gives me 1. So, the 1 is the identity element. So, the inverse of 1 is itself. Now, let us consider minus 1. So, what is going to be the inverse of minus 1? Minus 1 into minus 1 only gives me 1, the identity element. So, the inverse of minus 1 is itself. So, inverse of the minus 1 is itself minus 1. Then next inverse of I. If I multiply I by what element? I must get the identity element 1 I have to check. So, 1 into I into minus I gives me 1. I into minus I gives me minus I square value is minus 1. So, minus 1 into minus 1 gives me plus 1. So, the inverse of I is minus I. Similarly, the inverse of minus I is I. So, from the Cayley's table easily we can find out the inverses of G, inverses of all the elements of G. The next one is, now we have proved, hence we proved all the 4 conditions of group, G forms a group. Next let us check whether G forms an abelian group or not. Let us consider the law first for every A, B in G, A star B equal to B star. I have to check this condition. So, I am taking, we can take any 2 elements we can call, let us multiply left hand side and right hand side, check whether both the sides are equal. Here I am taking 1 and minus 1 in G, so I am getting both the sides are equal. Here the operation is multiplication. So, both the left hand side, right hand side gives me the same element. So, G becomes an abelian group. Also here G consists of finite number of elements. So, hence here G is called a finite abelian group. In this class we have come across some basic definitions of sets. Sets and its representation, what is a subset, then finite and infinite set, Cartesian product of 2 sets. So, we have discussed about these few things. Next, we have come across the first definition of the group. What is a group? What are the axioms involved in the group? The next, we have come across the definition of an abelian group. When will we call a group is an abelian group? We have come across this definition, and then the G is called an abelian group. The next we have discussed what is a finite and infinite group. When do we call a group is finite or infinite? We have come across the new definition called finite and infinite group. Next, we have seen one simple example of a group. A group G is given to you, and then together with an operation, we have applied the operations one by one on the sets of elements. So, we have concluded we found that the G is an finite abelian group. Thank you.